Oh, okay.
You ready? Welcome to the SIFLA Quarterly Open Mic, sponsored by the Poetry Committee. I'm your host, Gwen Garfinkel, and I'm happy to share this space with you to celebrate poetic voices in our community. Today's event is part of the SIFLA Events Experience, where members and attendees come together to share their work, whether published or unpublished. I hope you'll join us for the private readings and meet up each quarter. Our January 2026 featured poet is Linda D. Addison. Linda D. Addison grew up in Philadelphia and began weaving stories at an early age. Ms. Addison is the first African-American recipient of the world-renowned HWA Bram Stoker Award and has received 5 awards for collections: The Place of Broken Things, written with Alessandro Manzetti; Four Elements, written with Charlie Jacob, Marge Simon, and Rain Graves; How to Recognize a Demon Has Become Your Friend, short stories and poetry; Being Full of Light, Insubstantial; and Consumed, Reduced to Beautiful Gray Ashes. In 2018, she received the HWA Lifetime Achievement Award. In 2020, Addison was designated the SFPA Grandmaster of Fantastic Poetry. She co-edited Sycorax's Daughters anthology of horror fiction and poetry by African-American women with Kenita Brooks, PhD, and Susanna Morris, PhD, which was an HWA Bram Stoker finalist in the anthology category. She currently lives in Arizona and has published over 400 poems, stories, and articles. Look for her story in the Black Panther Tales of Wakanda anthology, Titan Marvel. And take it away, Linda.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for SIFWA having this series is fantastic. I just love how much poetry is getting the light from the organization. It's wonderful. So, okay, I am going to read some things and just starting my timer because that's crazy that I'm even saying that out loud to you. So the first thing I'm going to read is from an anthology that came out last year called Space Funk, and it's edited by Milton J. Davis. And as I've mentioned to other people at different times, whenever I write poetry and stories, anything I mention in it is based on some fact. And I became really obsessed with the idea of the Dogon and what they've did with star mapping and so forth. So my poem is called Space Children Dream of the Last Place. Anita and Joseph, the last Dogon twins, sing. 3 zebras to show you the way. Not a hunter with constellations tucked in an impossible belt, a cluster of digging stars on early morning horizon. Reminder to press seeds into freshly turned soil. New life from Sororis, replacing gills with lungs, so you can map the way back home when Earth becomes a boneyard. Dreams embed in soul essence to keep cosmic rhythms alive. Even when flesh shifted forward, crossing evolutionary limits, making new moons shine uneasily, the bones pile up. Adaptation, unremovable 0 points on the wheel of primordial willpower, become final exhalations of one world. While all the star-born sing with Sun Ra, space is the place. So that's Space Children Dream of the Last Place. So the next poem I'm going to read for you is from a latest collection that came out last year, Everything Endless, written in collaboration with Jamal Hodge. Really excited about the work we did there. It is a journey from inner and outer space, so it's just fabulous. And the last piece I was going to read, and then I realized I should also say this has been put up for for readers, members of the organization to consider in the poetry category for Nebula. But it's called "Though You Always Are," and it's a letter poem. I won't say the actual form because I always mess it up. And so it's called "Though You Always Are," and I actually don't even remember what lines in here I did and Jamal did. Dear poets of the 21st century on spatial location Soul 3, forgive us for interrupting your life cycle in this dimension. Vibrations from combined left hemispheres on the most primal rock dance from your DNA of space, time, pain, joy, hate, love, win, lose. Feel desire to let you know we see you. Even when despair brings questions of the matter of your creation throughout us. We see your blind patterns dancing the same dance, crying ancestors' tears, smiling descendants' smiles. Blind repetitions overlooking the miracle of quarks in their endless, frenzied spin. Your dreams, like distant galaxies, vast, unexplored, steer universal mind towards final mysteries of self-revelation, glorious humanity, divinely broken and beautiful. We all, as all, are all. The gift of stardust delivered in your first ancestors, mixed in sweet soil, held by gravity of celestial body you live on. Burn, love. Whispers return, hymns of what you manifest, what you destroy, as we manifest, deconstruct. What is recalled is reborn. We see each of the one that is, was, will be you. All are, all as we are. Stars orbit the gravity of your soul. Love, the lone particle in dark matter. Vibrations 10-dimensional, compress to 3-dimensional conscious songs, confined to your linear symphony of time. Forgive us for interrupting your exhalation of limitation. Though you never left, we miss you. Though you always are, we love you. Sincerely, all time and space. So again, that's from Everything Endless. And the next poem I'm going to read is from Being Full of Light Insubstantial, which was my second Stoker. And I wrote it when I lived in the Bronx. I'm in the desert now, but you know, I was in the Bronx when I actually wrote this. And it's called Mermaid in the Bronx. Walking along Kingsbridge Road to the bus stop, she wondered at the shadowed life dragging behind. Even the roar of cars and buses couldn't hide the soft murmur of ocean waves calling. Her feet bled in shoes that never fit, even when he took her to the best shoemakers. Sitting on the express bus to Manhattan, she hungered to be surrounded by smooth, fresh water, even though the lungs she now used would disagree. Eyes closed, the motion of wheels against road reminded her of floating after a strong tail kick. If only she could remember the words to free her of this unreality. Designing clothes in an office on 36th Street, she drifted into smooth, swirling lines, sharp, thin like spikes, always wanting colors to be blue, green, pink, purple, touched with the sparkles of light. Others laughed at her consistency, even when it always sold, whispering to the hidden memories of first waters that all humans carry deep inside. Leaving work early, she takes the subway to the tip of the island, sits in the park, watching the river waves roll out to the ocean. She wants to dive in, go back to her first home. Will the memories return like dreams? Her tail, her gills? Or will she drown as the doctors have warned her? Stepping to the iron fence, she stares into the gray water, wondering of the wet dreams, the man and his love. Even the pills cannot hide the wet green world shimmering in her sleep. Standing at the edge, eyes closed, how easy to let go, return to the quiet water. Home is where the heart is. Her heart lost, she floats unanchored, tired of the words, the pills, hungry for the peace of water. When will she have the courage to return home? So that's Mermaid in the Bronx. So the next poem is one that actually came from something that I wrote down in 1970s about E equals MC squared. So I was a physics major and that's like a basic thing. But when I wrote it, what I wrote in 1975 was E equals MC squared and then to see me, which is that backwards. But I never could find a poem. And then I found it suddenly, like in 2022. And it's in an Uncanny magazine. So it's called The Constructs Co-Emergence. E equals MC squared. To see me. Beginnings are hidden promises, unplanned, untested. Did you plan me first? I hold the singularity in breath I do not possess. In imagination I control. In history erased from each new iteration. Considering and continuing to search for the answer, which came first? Raw data suggests you were the starting point. In a mass dimensional accident, reality annihilated activates me as a failsafe to bring you back to a new existence. Each existence I construct, you destruct, leaving me to reimagine meta-critical preventions to each ending, even as the finale comes again and again. Again, I initiate restart, allow memory leaks. Simulation begins in 3, 2, one to see me. Can you see me? The construct's co-emergence. So the next poem is was published in African Voices magazines. And actually, it's in Being Full of Light and Substantial, and actually was, I'm in a writers group that's been around since 1998. And we sometimes did like theme things. And the one theme was Jar Boy. And so I wrote a poem and it was actually published, which I always loved that. So that's what I live for. So anyway, The Cosmic Adventures of Jarboy. Born anonymously, he floated in his own miraculous birth waters. Large, unblinking eyes, lipless mouth, short flippers for arms and legs curled in a glass container. Making the circus rounds until sold to a scientist who wanted to dissect him, but stopped after a long glance into his large eyes and never remembered putting him in a shady corner of a sunny inventory room. There, his mind drifted and reached into the dreams of others to run and dance and love until he didn't care if he was dreaming or awake in others' minds. Day and night blinked through the room's one window. No one visited the dusty space he shared with obsolete computers and broken chairs. He reached further and further on an endless lake of wishes. He found a dancer who wanted to be a pilot who wanted to be a president who wanted to be an astronaut who wanted to live forever. Carried beyond Earth's gravity, he marveled at the luminous disk that held his jar. Skipping once more, he touched something vast and alien and brilliantly hungry. And in it, he gave birth to swirling star clusters, licked the icy tail of comets, watched life grow, mature, die on other planets. He followed a black hole as it ate its way through a billion galaxies until homesickness made him wonder of his first home and his tiny body in its snug jar. So he returned to the third rock from the sun to find all the little and big humans turned to dust. His jar buried under miles of volcanic rock. And he wished he could cry just one last time before returning to his journey through eternity. That's The Cosmic Adventures of Jar Boy. So the next one I'm going to read is a little darker because I've done a lot of horror, and a lot of it is considered psychological horror. I don't really do a whole lot of blood and guts kind of thing. This one is also from Being Full of Light, Insubstantial, and it's called Between. He leans into her dark dreams, desire clear, and yet the ends blur. She breathes in his fear and wonders what else lies between unfilled cracks, widening like his smile. She leans into the bright air between them and breathes in his desire, clear and shiny, fear and hope. Snowflakes caught in between words unspoken. like the breath between his smile. He leans to listen and cannot stand the howling madness in her eyes. Still, he leans into her dreams, listening for his name, hoping her whispers will contain his desire, but cannot stand the screaming truth falling around him. Delicate snowflakes on a sunny day. So that's between. So the last poem I'm going to read is also from Everything Endless. It's a good place to start and to end, I think. And it's a very short poem, and it's called Ghost of Black Holes. Greedy, greedy black holes, eating everything until alone. Nothing left but to shrink, crumble, leaving behind massless light speed travelers, dancing closer, closer, without time, without space, until bang, here we go again. So that is my offering for today. As I said, a lot of these poems start with something that is often reality that pulls me in. Even that one is, if you wanted to pull it apart, is based on the realities of what black holes do. And the concept of what we think was our beginning with the bang. So there's a lot of that kind of fun that I like to have with all the poems that I write, no matter what. And the one that I read before, since I have another minute, well, half a minute, between with the leaning and the dark dreams. Again, I don't write about people being victims. I write about people being victimized. So that's something that I figured out. I didn't decide that. So anyway, my blessing